Hello, my lovely viewers. Welcome again to Mathematics and I. It is the presenter Jefferson, and today we have on the board solving quadratic equations with given roots. Solving quadratic equations with given roots. Now, remember in our last video we talked about quadratic equation, and then we said that in solving quadratic equation we can apply four methods, which is the formula method, the completing the square method, the factorization, and also the graphical method. But so far so good, we have been able to look at just one of the methods, which is the formula method. But before we proceed to the other methods for solving quadratic equation, we have something different today. And what do we have today? In today's class, we are going to be looking at a situation whereby the answers, are given, and then you are told to solve for the question, which is the quadratic equation. In our last video, the question was given, and then we were told to solve for the answer, which is known as the roots of the equation. But today we are going to see something different. And in order for us to be able to solve problems on this, I will be using two methods. Now, the first method is known as the formula method, when you apply the formula in solving the problem. Now, first of all, you need to know how does this formula looks like. Now, let us see now. The formula for solving quadratic equations, when the roots are given, is x squared minus sum of roots bracket x plus product of roots equal to 0. Now, what does that simply mean? It means the sum of roots simply means the answers that are given to you, sum means you add them together. Now, the product of roots simply means the answer given to you, products means you multiply them, you times them. Now, let us assume that the roots of the equation are alpha and beta. If we assume that these are the roots of the equation, if we substitute this into the formula, it means we are going to have something like this. X squared minus alpha plus beta x plus alpha beta equal to 0. How? Now, we just said that let us assume alpha and beta are the roots of the equation. So if we substitute these roots into this formula, remember I said sum means plus. We are going to add the roots together. So we have alpha plus beta. Now, product means times. We are going to multiply the roots. And alpha times beta is alpha beta. So we are going to be using this instead of this, because it means the same thing. Now, we're going to be using two examples to solve this problem using this formula. Now, the first example is given the roots number 1, 2/3 or 1/3. Number 2, 4 or -5. Now, these are the roots of an equation, but we don't know the equation yet. So we are told now to find the roots. We are told now to find the equation, the quadratic equation, given these roots. Now, remember I said we are going to be using the formula method in solving this. Now, let us begin solution. Now, number 1 says the roots are 2/3 or 1/3. Now, what does that mean? Remember we said let alpha and beta represent these roots. So it means in this case, alpha is equal to 2/3 and beta is equal to 1/3. Now that we have done this, let us introduce the formula. We said the formula is x squared minus alpha plus beta x plus alpha beta equal to 0. Now, let us substitute the value of 2/3 for alpha and 1/3 for beta. Then we're going to have this. X squared minus alpha now is 2/3 plus beta now is 1/3. You close your brackets. Then what do we have here? X. Plus, now, what do we have here? We have multiplication. So what do we have? Alpha now is 2 over 3. Now times beta is 1 over 3 equal to 0. Now without wasting time, let us proceed. You will see in this bracket, we have addition sign. Now when you have an addition sign or a subtraction sign separating two or more fractions, what do? You look for the LCM. Now, you will notice that the denominators of the fractions are the same. Now, because the denominators of the fractions are the same, the LCM will still be 3. Now, it means that without wasting time, x squared minus, now the LCM of 3 and 3 is 3. The LCM is 3 now. Now, if the LCM is 3, how do we get the numerator? Simple. Now, how many times will the denominator, which is 3, divide 3? It is 1 times. Now, 1 times 2 will give us 2 plus, how many times will 3 divide 3? 1 times. 1 times 1 will give us 1. Bracket, what do we have? X. Plus, now, this is multiplication. You don't look for the LCM when the multiplication sign separates fractions. So you just multiply. Now, 2 times 1 will give us 2, and 3 times 3 will give us 9, equal to 0. Now, let us proceed. 2 plus 1 will give us 3. Now, we have this now. X squared minus 3 over 3 bracket x plus 2 over 9 equal to 0. Now, without wasting time, what do? 3 divided by 3 will give us 1. So here becomes x squared minus bracket 1 bracket x plus 2 over 9 equal to 0. Now, without wasting time, 1 times x will give us x. There is not like 1x, just x. So what do we have now? X squared 1 times minus 1 times x is x plus, what do I have here? 2 over 9 equal to 0. Now, you will notice that 2 over 9 is a fraction. So what do? Base x over 1, base x squared over 1, base 0 over 1, and then you look for the LCM. You look for the LCM. Now, the LCM, let me write question 2 here. 4 or minus 5. Now, the LCM of 1, 1, 9 and 1 is 9. Now my LCM is 9. Now what do we do next? How many times will 1 go into 9? 9 times. 9 times x squared will give us 9x squared minus 1 will go into 9 times. 9 times x will give us 9x plus 9 we go into 9 1 times 2 on top will give us 2 equal to what? 1 into 9 will give us 9, and 9 times 0 will still give us what? 0. Automatically, when we solve for the quadratic equation given the roots 2 over 3 or 1 over 3, the equation we are going to get is 9x squared minus 9x plus 2 equal to 0. That is the answer to that question. Using the formula method. Using the formula method. Now, without wasting time, I told you that I will be using another method apart from the formula method so that you have choices when you are in what? When you are under examination condition. Now, how do we go about using method 2? Please do not confuse or do not mix them up. Now, how do we go about using method 2? Remember the question is 2 over 3 or 2 over 3 or 1 over 3. Now, how do we go using method 2? This is what you do, class. From the beginning, we don't need the formula x squared minus. No, we don't need that because we're not using formula method. Now, this is what we do. I will start. X is equal to 2 over 3 or x also is equal to 1 over 3, first of all. Now, what do we do next? Base x over 1, cross multiply. Now, x times 3 will give us 3x equal to 2 times 1 will give us 2. Or also base x over 1 and cross multiply. Now x times 3 will give us 3x equal to 1 times 1 will give us 1. Now after cross multiplying, what is the next step you take? This is what you do. 2 crosses the equality sign to meet 3x. Now when 2 crosses the equality, it becomes minus 2. So what do we have in a bracket? 3x minus 2 in a bracket. Then if 1 crosses the equality sign to meet 3x, it becomes minus 1. What do we have? 3x minus 1. Then what do you do next? You equate this to 0. Now, when you are done to this stage, what do you do next now? You open the bracket. How do you open the bracket? 3x, we multiply the numbers, everything inside this bracket. And minus 2, we multiply everything inside this bracket. So let us begin. Let 3x multiply first. Now, when 3 multiply 3, I will get 9. When x multiply x, I will get x squared. Now, 3x has multiplied 3x. So what do we have now? 3x will multiply minus 1. Now 3x times minus 1 will give us minus 3x. Now without wasting time, 3x has multiplied everything inside this bracket. Now what is going to multiply now? Minus 2. Now minus 2 times 3x will give us minus 6x. Now minus 2 will multiply minus 1. Minus times minus gives us plus, and 2 times 1 gives us 2. What do we do? Equal to 0. Now without wasting time in class, you will notice that minus 3x minus 6x is minus 9x. How? Minus shows you are owing. Now when you are owing someone 3x, and then another minus shows you are owing another 6x. How many x's are you owing together? 9. So automatically what do we have? 9x squared minus 9x plus 2 equal to 0. You will notice that this is the same answer that we got when we used the formula method. So class, what does that mean? It means either you make use of the formula method or you make use of the method 2, you will get the same answer. Now without wasting time, let's go to question number 2 and then we'll call it a day. Now question number 2 says, question number 2 says the roots are 4 or minus 5. Now we are still going to be using both methods that we treated in our first question. Now the first method is using the formula, and when you are using the formula, what do you do? Now alpha is equal to 4 or comma beta is equal to minus 5. Now, if alpha is equal to 4 and beta is equal to minus 5, because these were the roots that was given, what is the next thing you do? You introduce the formula. Now, what is the formula? X squared minus alpha plus beta x plus alpha beta equal to 0. Now, substituting the values of alpha and beta, into the formula, we have this. X squared minus, now alpha is 4 plus beta is minus 5. Okay, then we will give our x plus, now this means multiplication. Alpha is 4 times beta is minus 5 equal to 0. Now let us proceed. We have this x squared minus 4. Class, plus times minus will give us minus. What do we have there? 5 bracket x plus 4 times minus 5 will give us minus 20 equal to 0. Now class, without wasting time, x squared minus 4 minus 5 will give us minus 1. Then we have our x here plus. Now, plus times minus will give us minus. Then what do we have here? 20 equal to 0. Class. What do we do next? Minus with times minus. Minus times minus is plus. So what do we have? X squared plus 1 times x will give us x. Followed by what? Minus 20 equal to what? 0. Class, this is the quadratic equation you will get. When you solve, using these roots, 4 or minus 5. Now remember we said this is the method using the formula. What if we now want to make use of method 2? The same thing applies. Let's solve it here. Now the roots were 4 or minus 5. Now how did I say you go about it? X is equal to 4 or x is equal to minus 5. What did I say you will do next? 4 will come to meet x and minus 5 will come to meet x. If 4 crosses the equality sign, it becomes minus 4. So what do we have? In a bracket, x minus 4. If minus 5 crosses the equality, it becomes plus 5. What do we have? X plus 5. Then what do we do? Equates it to 0. Now what is the next thing I said you are going to do right now? You are going to open the bracket. And how do you open a bracket? The first multiply everything and the second multiplies everything. Perfect. Let's go. X times x gives us x squared plus x times 5 gives us 5x. X has multiplied. Now what's going to multiply next now? Minus 4. Now minus 4 times x will give us minus 4x. Then minus times plus will give us minus. And 4 times 5 will give us 20 equal to 0. Now without wasting time class, you will notice that 5x minus 4x will give us x. So automatically what do we have? X squared plus x followed by what? Minus 20 is equal to 0. If you compare, you will see that the answer we got when we use the formula method, which is the method 1, it was the same answer that we get when we use method 2. You will even see that the method 2 is shorter than the method 1. Now, I don't want you to just master one only, but you should master both of them so that in case that you forget to remember one, there is still an option for you to use. Class, we have come to the end of today's section which says solving quadratic equation with given roots. And I hope you have learned something new today. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to comment, and don't forget to share. Till we meet again, thank you very much.